to this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Marc Alcobe, Barcelona-born UX UI designer. He has spent the past 8 years living abroad across Germany, Greece, and now Italy. He is also a professional futsal goalkeeper and an improv theater actor. And along with that, he hosts the Almost Local podcast, where he explores what it really takes to build a life and feel at home in a new place, sharing insights on adapting to new cultures, finding belonging, and navigating life beyond one's home country. So we'll discover with him how designing a life abroad can reshape how you see identity, community, and the world. Welcome to the show, Marc.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show, Marc. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We will talk about living abroad. We'll talk about belonging and how one can become almost local. And before that, let's talk a bit about your journey, your background, your story, so that the audience knows who they are listening to.
Sure. So basically, as you said, I was born in Catalonia, in Barcelona, close by to Barcelona. But then after my studies, I got a good opportunity to move abroad because of job, and that bring me as a UX UI designer to Germany, to Frankfurt specifically, Frankfurt on Main, where I worked mainly for banking industry on mainly mobile applications design, from both the UX, which is a user experience, and the user interface perspective. And in there I met my partner, who is an archaeologist, and then I followed her to Greece, and then lived in Greece for 4 years more. And now in Italy since a little bit more than 1 year, which has been the first move that we chose where we wanted to be. The other ones were moving because of professional reasons. And these last 6 years I've been working remotely completely, so it allows me to travel around the world and follow my partner.
Absolutely, Marc. So to understand it, you see, people move out of whichever place they are in for different reasons. I don't know, I haven't been to your part of the world, either, Barcelona, either Italy, Greece, none of these places. But I want to understand, Barcelona, if I understand, is known for football and all those things, and people go to visit such places. I'm sure it's a place where can find a lot of opportunities. What was your reason of moving out from there first to Germany, Greece, Italy, and now doing remote work? Help us understand that part. Was there a problem with Barcelona where or is it that you wanted to explore the world and seeking something else?
I would say a combination of both. I mean, I'm always been curious. My family and I used to travel quite a lot, so I traveled quite some places. I've been to India a couple of times actually also, and there was that inside me, this curiosity of discovering new places for sure. But I would say the first move to Germany was strictly professional. While Barcelona is a city that I love and I enjoy as a person who grew up there, I have my special love for my home country and my hometown. But it's true that it has become a very, very expensive city, while the salaries has been remaining for quite some time the same. So unfortunately, the quality of life, although it's in Mediterranean style and the lifestyle might be very nice, the cost of living, it's increasing while your salaries are low compared to the north of Europe. Just to put an example, I duplicated my salary when I moved between Spain and Germany, just because of the fact of doing the move. Of course, when that move happened, I was 22 years old, 23 years old, and it was easier to move easier than what it has been the latest moves, because I took a backpack and a suitcase and I moved on. No, the move from Germany to Greece was strictly love related. So my partner got an option to move to Greece. She's an archaeologist, so I suppose that makes quite a lot of sense to move there. I was already working in remote, so I had the option of following her, and we went there. She had a contract of 3 years. We stayed 4, and then in Italy it was we now both work remote, as you said, which gives us a complete flexibility. And before taking a bigger decision on where do we want to really establish our base and live for a longer time, we decided to try one last country, and we decided to go to Italy because we both speak a little bit of Italian, which we are perfectionating now here, and we wanted to see how the Italian lifestyle could fit us as a couple.
Of course, Mark. So how do you choose on a country? As you said, remote. And when it's remote, then how do you choose on a country? Is it the better quality of life on less amount of money, or is it something else?
In my case, fortunately enough, as I have the capability of preserving my German salary, meaning I still have a salary from the north of Europe. The choices of where we move, since we have been working remote, are very much life quality related. So we search for better climate, better lifestyle, better ways of doing, places where we think that we fit more, also culturally wise. At the end, Greece, Italy, Spain has much more connections, while, for example, Germany would be more connected to other Northern European countries such as Netherlands, Denmark, etc., etc. But if you're a person who enjoys a little bit more the mild temperature of the south of Europe, definitely Greece, Italy, Spain, even Portugal, I would say it's what normally people chooses, because the quality of life, the work life balance, it's also a little bit better than in other places. So I have the benefits of both worlds, let's say like this. I can maintain a good salary while I can live in a place where I feel more comfortable and that I feel fit more into the culture. Yeah.
Absolutely, Mark. I get it. And I want to understand then for the audience is that, man is a wanderer. He is a wanderer. He wonders about things. He wanders places. But he also wants to, settle down at one place, maybe. Always have that feeling, whether they follow it or not, but that's the way humans generally think. How do you know till when you will keep on looking from one country to another, or is it that you are looking for a place where you would actually want to settle down and call it home? How does all these things work? How does your mind work when you look at the world, when you look at what you want, when you look at where is your destination?
So definitely there is a moment, I think, for everyone when you decide, okay, has been enough, and you pass from being a nomad to being more settling down, and at some point I suppose you settle down. I mean, there is people who lives in nomadism for the whole life. It's not my case. So for example, in our case, we know that we have lived, my partner and myself, in 4 different countries. We have the comparison between these 4 different countries, but the next move probably will be the most definitive one, and that's why we probably we have 2-3 years here in Italy remaining, and then we will need to take a decision on where do we want to live and what is the values that we want to have inside of this place. No, definitely, as I said, the cultural fit is an important one. It's something that you normally don't discover that well when you travel to a place. Until you really live in a place, you don't really know if the culture and the standard ways of doing things of that place will really fit who you are and how do you things. You do things at the end. Of course, there is other attributes and or topics that will affect this decision. which is, do we want to have children or not? Do we want to get married or not? The cost of I don't know, investing in having an apartment for ourselves, or buying a property instead of being renting for longer time. That's considerations, but also, of course, quality of life, quality of schools if you have kids, the quality of the air, the amount of greenery that the city has, which activities it can bring you, if it fits your hobbies or not, if you can do your normal routine working from there. All of that is relevant when you search for the ideal place, although sure there is no ideal place 100%, but it's this amount of little pieces that are building this whole idea of where you will feel more comfortable calling that place your new home. No? And for us, definitely there is a limit on how much we will be extending this navigating multiple lives. At some point, probably in the next few years, we will decide where we settle down and create a more permanent base, for sure.
Right, Mark. Which is your default home now? Is Barcelona still the default home, or that you have moved from there? Is Germany the default home because maybe salary from perspective, or anything else? It's, we always need some place we can call it, where we, or otherwise, we lose our you can say that sense of belonging, or whatever we want to call. I want to understand your mind about this.
So I have two different responses for that. Let's say like this. One is the physical one. I don't do little moves. As you can see, I have stuff. I have my vinyls. I have my art. I have my instruments. I have everything. So whenever we move with the stuff that we have. We move our home completely with us. So we try to establish the home wherever we are at the moment. So probably from that perspective, I would say that Italy, it's my home right now, because it's where my things are, where my partner are, my friends, my routine. It's where I play sports, where I do improv theater, where I go to the gym, where I work regularly every day from. That doesn't mean that I forget everything that passed through. No, I think it's important that you need to understand that you need to belong wherever you go and try to adapt and integrate to whatever culture and traditions and ways of doing of the country that you are living in. But what differentiates you and makes you special, and most of the times interesting, I would say, it's whatever you win in your previous experience. And that doesn't mean that you need to move a country to improve who you are. But the fact of reinventing yourself that it brings the moving abroad definitely does that. No, it forces you to lose this safety net, and with the time you learn to take whatever was interesting or is still interesting of your identity during these past years. So from my home, I will take my traditions, I will take my way of dealing, I don't know, with understanding politics, of analyzing things, how I grew up, so on. From Germany, I will take other things that make me improve, especially because it was the first place that I will that I lived in, and therefore it teach me how to reinvent myself in a new country, being completely alone. From Greece, the more relaxed and more enjoying the life without being concerned about everything that it happens. So I think that the identity builds upon it, and at the end, you try to adapt to new place, but you belong. The sense of belonging maybe it's more related to, if you do like us, that we bring all our stuff with us. It's where you have a normal routine and where you have your home, your apartment, your stuff, your game console, if you play video games, your board games, whatever it's that makes you feel at home in a certain space.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this question. You talked about identity. You talked about stuff, you talked about the people around you. What happens to identity when everything else is gone and you are all alone? Not in that loneliness sense, but in sense of standing alone. What does identity then mean to you? Suddenly you find yourself in a place where there is nobody else, none of the things, none of the people you know. What is your identity then?
Well, it came or it comes clear that you are an entity, no? Until the first moment that you leave your family and your friends behind. Probably you have grown up in a family who raised you in a circle of protection, and you have this safety net that has marked you, and your identity has been so close to this fact and to these social circles that have been there for your whole life, that most of the times you don't even ask this question to yourself, no, unless you have passed through some experience that forces you really analyzing who you are. I would say the fact of moving to a new country and not having any of that, the first thing that does to you is suddenly realizing, oh, I never asked this question of who I am, no, how I want to present myself on the others, what is really the core base of myself. I'm these decisions, or I want to start acting differently than I've done until now, because I don't have these, I don't know, constraints that maybe societies, family, friends were having on you. So it can be freeing at the same time that it's scary, because of course when things go wrong, you don't have that safety net that I was talking about, so you can also panic a little bit more. What is important for me to understand is that identity, it's something that it works through all your life. It's not something that you have and you have that identity forever. It's not, it doesn't work like this. I think it's just something that it evolves with you. And having this reinvention and reanalyzing your identity from time to time, I find it refreshing. Probably also in a society or in a world right now where we can be recording you from India, me from Italy, you know, so you don't really lose the connection back home 100%. You can always call your parents, your family, your friends. So technology allows us to have a little bit of this connection that probably some years ago was much more difficult than now. But it definitely does a reset of your mentality when you are finding yourself not surrounded for what it was familiar until now. Yeah.
Absolutely. How do you ensure that in every country, what is it that you would like to know? Would you like to be known as a local, or would you always want to be known as a foreigner? Especially when you want to be known as local, then you also know that it is all these relationships that you are building are only for a short span of time, maybe couple of years, 3 years, 4 years. Beyond that, you will move out. Whereas any other place, we are humans, we think differently. We think, even if knowingly, unknowingly, we start thinking about stability, permanence of things. Even we know, that things can shift very fast.
It's a tough question, to be honest. Like, I assume that you never become 100% local. So I try to adapt until the point that the locals perceive me as something as close as I could be to a local. I don't think that the people who has grown up here, because of course they have all their relationships with this place that you don't have, you will never be 100% local. No, that's also the why the host the podcast that I'm doing, it's called Almost Local, because you really never arrive to be 100% a local. You haven't grown up there. You don't have the connection that local people might have with that place. But that doesn't mean that it's a disadvantage when sometimes you are the locals see that you are pushing yourself to integrate at a level that you start speaking the language more or less fluently, start understanding their traditions and adapting to that cultural behaviors, doing things, adapting even as simple things as your eating times. They start perceiving you maybe not as 100% local, but as someone who respects the place and the culture and the environment, and therefore they don't treat you anymore as a tourist, as a foreigner, but they start treating you as something almost local, which is also interesting. I mean, for everyone, no, the multiculturalism and understanding and learning from other cultures and other people who has not passed through the same experience as you, it's incredibly valuable, and that's maybe when you move abroad, maybe you need to understand that while you are trying to integrate and adapt to a new culture, to try to be a local, it's good to still maintain things from home and from your own ways of doing, and that maybe having an accent when you speak a language, it's not a problem. It's what identifies you as a person who arrived to a place, learn the language, and still have a certain accent because you are not from there. I find it as a positive thing, the fact of not arriving to be fully a local, but still having your own home identity.
Right, right, Mark. What have you learned in all these years? What are the biggest challenges that you have faced every time you make that move?
I mean, you will deal with bureaucracy. That's no change anywhere. No matter how well digitalized the system can be and cannot, you will always have some certain amount of bureaucracy that you will need to pass. And I'm saying that from a European perspective, of someone who has moved in European countries. So I have the privilege of not requiring to do visa permits, residence permits, and so on. But even with that, be prepared. There is always a certain level of challenges when it comes to bureaucracy in any country in the world. And there is also an effort required. You don't move abroad and everything, even if it's through a positive movement, they offered you a new job, a great job abroad, and you're taking an opportunity of your life. It requires an effort. You will need to adapt. You will need to learn the language. You will need to learn, as you said, to become a new person and lose the safety net, the surrounding that you had until now. Accept yourself, reinvent yourself, and adapt. Adaptation is key when you move abroad, and it's probably the biggest point. And this doesn't come out of the box. You need to put from your side to make your life abroad easier.
Right, right, Mark. When you leave a place, go to another, and I'm not talking about the stuff that you carry. What else do you carry with you?
Culture, ways of doing, friendships. I mean, this is also interesting, no? Like, you are always, if you have the capability here in Europe, it's relatively easy to travel between countries. So the option of going back to a place that you lived and going to a friend's house and not needing to pay a hotel or whatever, that's an incredible point. But also language, music. I love listening to music from Germany, from Greece, from back home in Catalan and Spanish. Emotions related to when you try again food from that region. There is a whole sentimental part, of course, that you take with you, and on top of that, there is also ways of doing things. You take small parts of that culture and you integrate them as your identity. Like I suppose I become more punctual in Germany, more relaxed in Greece, and a little bit more louder probably in Italy, or a little bit more punchy in Italy. So I take everything as a good thing. Yeah.
Have you felt lonely in any of the places and felt like uh, that Barcelona was the home. These all are good places, but not home.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose the very beginning, probably the first year in Germany, when I went for work and my social life was kind of binded to work, because even my friends outside of the office were office friends. I miss home. I felt that I was far away from the family, far away from my friends back home. I would say there is probably moments of loneliness that kicks you everywhere you go, and that's mainly moments that you realize that your family is meeting together, and that will happen anywhere. So it's more like these events and things that you might be missing. Call it festivities like Christmas, or like a wedding of someone, or unfortunately the funeral of someone else. Not being there when your loved people are passing through a bad moment, for example, that accentuates 100% the feeling of loneliness. I would say I didn't experience it binded to a specific place, but it's more like an emotion of like saying, okay, my family is back there, it's still at Barcelona, and I'm here, I'm kilometers away from home, and maybe I should be there. No, it's this emotion rather than the sensation of a place.
Are you able to be in touch with people everywhere? Home, Greece, Germany. Tomorrow, Italy will perhaps be left behind.
Most of the times, yes. I mean, it's also true that with the years you learn who is relevant or not relevant, but who will be there forever and who not, and who is your inner circle. And there is people that maybe you don't talk in a whole year, but then you send a message and they will be there, or when you visit they will always be there. And it's true that you disconnect from other friendships and for people. Family wise, fortunately for me, they've always been there. So as I said, technology nowadays allow you to be connected with people. With friendships, it's true that you need to accept that there will be friendships that will disappear. You are not physically there. They evolve, and they go with their own. They go on with their lives. You go on with your life, and that's okay. It's a normal path, and that you take, and that there is relationships that will strengthen out of it, and others that will weaken. There will be people that will be contacting you more often because you're far away, and others that will stop talking, and that relationship will fade out. But fortunately for us, we live in a world that you can easily do a video call with your family whenever you want. Regularly call my grandma, for example, at least once per week, while she's alive. So yeah, it's possible. And if you put, it takes effort, of course. It takes you need to put time into it.
Absolutely, Marc. What role does your podcast play in your life as a host?
Well, it brings perspective that I didn't have. So you know a lot about your own experience of moving abroad and those friends who moved abroad around you. But it's a very restrict perspective on things. So interviewing people who are doing completely different moves, or the reasons why they moved abroad are completely different to yours, broaden the experience and the relationship that you have with living abroad. At the same time, it's an emotional support. You share struggles, you share challenges with other people who pass through similar things, and you understand that you are not alone. You are not the only person who is passing through all of that. But nowadays, it's just giving perspective and enjoying listening other experiences of people who moved abroad for a lot of different reasons, and understanding that everyone has their own experiences and their own challenges while doing it. And I think it's important to understand that all these Instagram or social media ways of traveling around and living abroad maybe sometimes are giving you the wrong perspective of what it is really living abroad. That's what I try to bring with the podcast. I try to show a reality and give space to my guests to explain what it really is moving abroad, and not the social media, everything very, very, very nice and everything works perfectly version of it, because it's not true. There is challenges and there is work to do when you move abroad.
Absolutely, Mark. So everyone seeks one thing or the other. Some people seek adventure, some people seek peace, some people seek war, some people seek something else. After seeing the world, hearing the world, interacting with the world like a foreigner, like a local, trying to be local, you know, what is it that you seek for yourself, Mark?
A good life, and that's not economically or neither. I want to be doing things that are meaningful and that I enjoy doing, and I want to live in a place that I feel comfortable living in. Building at some point, as you said, like a more stable base with my partner, with my cats, with my more fixed friends. I suppose I seek a little bit of a good life balance, good work-life balance. Also, it's important, and being capable to enjoy my hobbies, my interactions, being able to go out with friends and have a drink and play football until I can, and my body allows me to play, do theater, do as many things as I can, and having a routine around them, living comfortably. Probably it's the biggest goal.
Absolutely, absolutely. There is so much to learn about life, about moving, about understanding things, about, you know, feeling like a local and making all that effort that you can. A lot of people would want to
Absolutely.
connect with you, also connect with your podcast. What's the best way for them to do so, Mark?
So if you want to listen, I'm in a majority of the big streaming audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, etc., etc. If you want to put a face into the voice that talks and you want to see it in video and YouTube, and you can follow the channel under the name Almost Local. If you want to connect a little bit deeper, you can always send an email to hello@almostlocalstories.com, or visit the website, which is almostlocalstories.com. And I'm in majority of the social media under the same hashtag almostlocalstories. And you can send me a DM or or an email if you want to talk with me. But if you want to listen to the podcast and support the podcast, that would be amazing. And it's growing up, so looking forward to get more listeners from your master classes.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KAJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much.